I wanted to share an experience I had a few years ago that really challenged me in how we think about life after death, the immortality of the soul. The fact that after we die, we believe as Catholics that we will go to heaven or purgatory or hell. This is something that's part of our Catholic faith. And many people don't actually think about these things. They think, oh, that's something way off in the future. And a lot of people get very uncomfortable when we talk about death. If you've ever lived in Italy, you know that it's really a country that doesn't like to talk about death at all. And people don't like to confront the fact that everybody on this earth, everybody without exception, is going to die. We're all going to die, and we're going to face eternity, which we hope will be in heaven. But as Catholics, we believe that souls also have to go through a purgatory to enable them to enter heaven, and some souls sadly will go to hell. These are choices that we make as human beings, and we can. Non-Catholics will think this will be very skeptical about anything about this. There's a lot of people that think there are atheists that think, look, this is it. This is the world. There's nothing else after this, and we make the best of life here because this is it. But as Catholics, we believe that there is life after death. So back in 2015, I was working in Singapore. I'm not going to name the place where I stayed in Singapore, just to avoid people Googling it and being curious. But I was staying in a hotel in Singapore while I was working there. And I had a very, very interesting experience in this hotel. It's an old hotel that was built in the late 1800s, and beautiful. I mean, anyone who's been to Singapore knows how beautiful the place is. It's the Orchard City, and you have some absolutely beautiful places, and Orchard Road and so forth, and hey, it's a beautiful city. Anyway, in this hotel, there'd been a mix-up, and I was supposed to have stayed in some service departments, and instead I wound up, due to confusion, I stayed in a room in the hotel. And during my stay in the hotel, this is December 2015, during my stay there, I woke up one night and the light was on in the room. And I said, God, what happened here? And all of the lights and in the room were kind of controlled by a little board beside my bed. So you just press a button there and the lights would turn on and off. And I said, God, this thing is kind of isn't working. And anyway, I didn't think too much of it. I put a pillow over my head and I went back to sleep. I just thought it was some faulty wiring or something. That's fine. The next night it happened again, but instead of the light going on, it would go on and off. And there was a lot of noise. You could hear the clicking in the room. There was a lot of noise, clicking. So the light wasn't annoying me so much as the noise now was annoying me. There was no noise the first night. I said, and it's in the middle of the night. I said I couldn't be arsed to go down to the reception to get this sorted. So I just put the pillow over my head and I went to sleep. Go down to the reception the next morning. I said, look, there's something wrong with the lights in my room at night. And could you have a look at them? I said, yeah. And so they had a look at them. The next night I didn't hear anything in the room. So it could have been condensation on the wires or something, I don't know, but I didn't hear anything in the room. There was no lights. Then the fourth night, it started up again. So all of us turn off the lights, go to sleep. The room is quiet. I'm, completely asleep, and this chorus of lights going on and off, the noise in the room, and I said, what's going on here? Why is it always at night, when I'm asleep, I get woken up with by this, and it seemed to only happening at certain hours at night. It wasn't, it wouldn't happen if I turn off the lights and I'm reading a book there. It wouldn't happen. I would be asleep and it would start happening. So anyway, I go down to reception the next morning. I said, look, you need to sort out the lights in my room. I said, oh yeah, we'll look at that. Don't worry, your room isn't haunted. And I said to myself, hold on a second, I never said the room was haunted. And that kind of threw me. You're thinking, okay, so what's going on here? Because I thought we just had an electrical fault in the room. My mind never jumped to the idea that this room was haunted until the receptionist told me, well, don't worry, the room isn't haunted. So I start thinking about it. This is interesting. I'm there for a good few nights, and I suppose after a week, people say, why did you stay in that room? I said, well, the room is actually pretty nice. I liked the room and had a nice view, and it was just convenient for me. And I didn't feel frightened or anything like that. I mean, it's just, I just, at night, I just couldn't be bothered to take notice of what's happening. But once he mentioned the room is haunted, so I said, okay, let's see what's going on here. So I Googled the hotel, and oh yes, this hotel was the headquarters for the Japanese during World War II, and executions had taken place, and there was a mass grave in front of the hotel, which had been excavated a few years previously, and they had called a priest to exorcise the hotel. So a priest had come to exorcise the hotel. So I was kind of a little bit, that kind of freaked me out a little bit. And what happened next was really what the strangest thing is what happened next. Okay, so this is December 2015. If anyone remembers or anyone reads National Geographic, during that month, National Geographic had put out an edition which called Mary, the most powerful woman in the world, and a picture of our Blessed Virgin on the front of the magazine. This was December 2015. And I remember I had bought that magazine while I was traveling to Singapore, and I had it there on my desk. And I happened to post on Facebook. I said, I think this room is haunted. And a priest reached out to me, and he said, don't worry, don't be afraid, but you need to pray the rosary. And for whatever is happening there, for whatever soul could be or spirit could be there. So I did. I would pray it every evening, and I set up a slow motion camera one evening, just so that we record all during the night to see, what's happening, what time was this is starting. So I had a video of that I could see this was happening every evening. And then I had a dream. So what did I dream? A very sad dream, nothing spectacular. A woman sitting on a bed looking out the window. I don't know who. I actually can't picture this woman. I can just see her from behind, sitting on the bed, looking out the window, and very sad. Very, very, very sad. So whatever was going on there, whatever history was there, whatever had happened to her, I could see her there. I could actually, I could really picture her there. And I, as I said, I didn't feel afraid in the room. I felt sad in the room, great sadness. So anyway, I had that edition of National Geographic. I prayed the rosary as the priest said. I wasn't conjuring or wasn't looking to interact with the spirit. I don't do Ouija boards. I don't do fortune telling. I don't do tarot cards. I don't do any mystics or I don't go into the occult. I don't go to mediums, etc. As Catholics, we have to understand you cannot engage with powers you don't understand. We should never use these mediums, delve into the occult, because you don't know what you're going to find there, and you don't know how can you deal with those forces. And many people listening to this may think I'm crazy, but that is what we're taught as Catholics. Do not enter or interact with occult forces that you won't be able to understand or control. But I was in that situation where I was in this hotel room dealing with something that was there, and what was the best thing to do was just to pray the rosary. I mean, many people could say, okay, look, there must be some rational explanation for this. I thought it was just faulty wiring, but it was, the faulty wiring had a way of expressing itself in very insistently, very, certain hours of the night. It would be very, what the first time it happened, it was just the light went on, and that was it, and I ignored it. But then it would just get very, very insistent, and could there be somebody playing a joke on me? Could it be a prank? Could it be, I don't know. We don't know. But I do know that, once I prayed the rosary, I said, look, our Blessed Lady, please help whoever needs your help. I felt a great peace. That this was something that maybe helped whoever needed help. Just my experience with what could possibly have been the haunted hotel. I've relayed this to people. It says, why didn't you run out of the room? Why didn't you get away? Why didn't you get away? I says, haunted hotel, like, many people pay lots of money to go to haunted hotels, and here was I in one, jokingly after that. But on a serious side, souls do need our prayers. We do pray for souls in purgatory that are on their journey, and I think it's important, as Catholics, while we may not understand everything that happens and all of the problems, we should pray for souls. Sadly, in the Catholic Church today, everybody goes to heaven, it seems, because we're all saints when we die. This is practically every funeral in Ireland today. We don't bother praying the rosary, and we believe that everybody goes to heaven, which is bizarre, because up to 50 years ago, we did believe that there was such other things as purgatory and even hell. People can decide not to go to heaven. It can happen. I know of a person on his deathbed, he wouldn't confess. And this was a person that, really needed a confession. And so people sometimes, they can decide to turn away from God's mercy, and we should pray for them. But anyway, I'm gonna put a clip of my time in this hotel, because people were so incredulous what was happening. I actually, one night I said, look, I'm going to record what's happening, because otherwise people think am I crazy or whatever. So I'll put a minute of a video I took that time. So the light's on again, and the fan is on in the bathroom. And it's off again. So whoever is annoying me at night, it's not helping. Am I imagining this, or is it really happening? Faulty wiring or haunted hotel? You make it up. So this is it every day, and it only happens around me for some reason. It's a bit unnerving at the moment. But hopefully it's just faulty wiring. Anyway, For those who thought I was making it up, no, it's not motion sensors. It's the room. It's got a life of its own. Okay. And it only happens at night. Anyway, good night, everyone. I'll have to pop off to sleep now with my ghost here in the room. And yeah, it could have been faulty wiring. The dream could have been my own imagination. But the fact remains, the hotel was occupied by the Japanese in World War II. There were mass graves in front of the hotel. The hotel was exorcised by a priest. And according to the reception, my room was not haunted. But I didn't say it was. They did. So I didn't invent this whole story. I was just, there and experienced it. And I think sometimes souls can be lost. We can lose ourselves. Souls can lose them, can be lost. In the real sense of the word. We don't know what terrors could have happened. What this woman could have suffered. I don't know. But I do know that it was. We should be careful. As I said, I'm not putting the name of the place here. I don't want people being curious about where it is and go looking for ghosts. We don't go looking for the occult, but we should, as Catholics, arm ourselves with sacramentals that will help us ward off what could be there. We just don't know. And pray for souls. Definitely pray for souls. Pray for that they reach heaven. Because as Catholics, we always believed in these last realities, in heaven, purgatory, and hell. And we should want and understand how we can best prepare ourselves for heaven. That we are souls that are praying each day, adoring each day, going to mass. If you're Catholic, we should arm ourselves with the tools that the Catholic Church has always used, gives great peace. Prayer gives great peace to us all. It helps us. And in today's world, there's so much sadness, there's so much anxiety, there's so much pain, suffering, because once you turn away from God, you have to turn your attention to something else. What is that other thing that we're going to turn our attention to? Money, power, sex, drugs. Our mind is occupied by so many things. If we think about what happened during the Second World War, it was a pretty horrific time for humanity. How could man be so cruel, be so inhumane to other men? This happened in many places. That suffering that human beings experienced, that pain, and so forth. We just don't know. And who knows? It could be some other soul. I don't know. But I do know it was a woman that was suffering. And she was in great pain. She was very sad, and maybe she was just asking, "Please pray for me." So I ask everyone listening to this video, just pray for her and pray for souls that are in purgatory. I know non-Catholics mightn't understand this, and I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just talking from my own experience. Anyway. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.